Good evening, everyone. This is Mellissa Thomas of Florida National News coming to you with the evening news rundown for your Friday, May 29th, 2020. Thank you as always for tuning in with us. Now, as usual, we like to do is lead off with the COVID-19 reports globally here in the US and in the state of Florida. So, according to the World Health Organization, globally, we're looking at over 5.7 million confirmed coronavirus cases and over 357,000 confirmed deaths. Now, in the US, according to the CDC, who finally updated their numbers, we're looking at over 1.7 million confirmed cases and over 101,000 confirmed deaths. And according to the Florida Department of Health's dashboard, we're looking at over 54,000 confirmed cases here in the state of Florida and over 2,400 confirmed deaths here in the state of Florida. Now, jumping into your world news, again, one of the nations that was recently hailed as a leader in bringing the COVID-19 cases down is now seeing a bit of a spike again. South Korea is now seeing 79 new confirmed cases, and as a result, had to close 200 of their schools, which they had just recently reopened due to the numbers staying low. Now, the 79 is the highest daily figure they've had in the last 2 months in terms of new confirmed cases. And through contact tracing, they were able to trace most of those 79 cases to a warehouse in a city called Buncheon, which is within the Seoul area. Now, the warehouse is being run by an e-commerce company called Coupang, who consequently were not fully enforcing the infection and disease control protocols. So as a result, several of the employees there were infected, and traces of the COVID-19 virus were found in the employees' clothing and in their shoes. So given that situation, all the schools have closed back down, and South Korea is expecting to see a spike in new cases once they do COVID-19 testing on the thousands of employees that work at that warehouse. As for the schools, thousands of students are now back home again, playing it safe while South Korea works out the situation here with that particular warehouse. We'll continue to keep you guys posted on that. Coming over here to the United States, there is a lot going on in the United States. You guys have likely heard several of these news reports. If you haven't, if you've been at work all day and this is your first briefing, thanks for tuning in. Our first story is that President Trump has actually decided to extend the National Guard's deployment across the country. Now, they were first deployed in March to assist in setting up COVID-19 testing sites, helping to administer COVID-19 tests, deliver key supplies and food, and even help several COVID-19 patients in some cases. So they've been deployed all across the country doing various things. Now, on the plus side with this, the positives of this extension is that the service members will now have the chance to partake of the post 9/11 GI Bill benefits given the extended time. And for those who have been nearing retirement, those who are probably 3 months away from turning 60 years old, they'll be able to take advantage of their retirement benefits as a result of the extension. So that's a plus for the service members. So good news for them, and good news for the nation as the nation continues to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and as different states continue to gradually reopen. Another bit of news with President Trump, he has, as of yesterday, signed an executive order to make good on what he said about the social media. So now the executive order has actually targeted social media companies. He made sure to cite Twitter in his executive order. But to boil down all the legalese, the executive order is meant to curb or limit the power for social media companies to censor folks who are using their social media platforms. President Trump, while in the Oval Office, just before he signed the executive order, stated that the free speech, he has to defend free speech from one of the gravest dangers it has faced in American history. He feels that a small group of social media companies control most of the communication, the private and public communication for most Americans. So he felt very strongly about that and decided to sign the executive order. Now, both legal experts from both the left and the right, as well as tech companies, are basically prepared for the the legal battle that is going to ensue as a result of this, where the constitutionality of that executive order is concerned. President Trump said, hey, this is expected to go to court. What doesn't? So he's expecting the fight. He's prepared for it. So again, watch this space. We'll continue to keep you posted on that as well, because that's very important for platforms like this. We stream live through social media, through Facebook and YouTube. So this is very relevant to us as well as you who are watching. And then thirdly, as I'm sure you've heard by now, even while you're at work, this was by far the top topic of mind for everyone who's here in the United States. There was the press announcement that the former police officer that was instrumental in the unfortunate death of George Floyd on Monday has officially been arrested and charged. Now, the Hennepin County attorney, Mike Freeman, made the press announcement earlier today. So here's a quick clip of some of the details that he shared with members of the media today. Take a look at this.
Good afternoon. I'm Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman. I'm here to announce that former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is in custody. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been charged by the Hennepin County Attorney's Office with murder and with manslaughter. Questions?
Yes, what charge of murder?
He has been charged with third-degree murder. We are in the process of continuing to review the evidence. There may be subsequent charges later. I failed to share with you a detailed complaint will be made available to you this afternoon. I didn't want to wait any longer to share the news that he's in custody and has been charged with murder.
What about the other three officers involved?
The investigation is ongoing. We felt it appropriate to focus on the most dangerous perpetrator.
Now, there you go. There you have it. So that brings us to our audience question of the day. There are a lot of comments on social media with regards to the charges that have been leveled against former police officer Derek Chauvin. So we wanted to bring that to you. What are your thoughts on the charges that he's received for third-degree murder and manslaughter? Do you feel that that is enough? Are you relieved that he was arrested at all? Leave us a comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are, on where Hennepin County is in terms of the other officers who are involved. This is a very, very sensitive subject, of course, and we want to make sure to give respect to the families involved, not only for George Floyd, but also for all involved, the law enforcement, those who are working legally behind the case. But we want to hear your voice. We want to know what your thoughts are on this situation, okay? Now, before we jump into the Florida stories, I'm going to take one quick commercial break. Leave your comment during the break, and I'll be glad to share them with our audience. But as for right now, stay tuned, and we'll be right back after this.
I'm not picking it up. You pick it up.
I'm not picking it up.
Well, somebody's got to pick it up.
I'll pick it up. They're clean. 'Cause my hand is clean. Oh yeah, I'm Charmin clean. That's how I know they're clean.
Charmin Ultra Strong is woven like a washcloth and just cleans better.
Yeah, I'm Charmin clean.
The kid does have a
That's
point.
My hand is clean.
Enjoy the go with Charmin. And for an extra clean finish, try Charmin Flushable Wipes.
Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in, as always. Now, giving you your Florida story, one of them. There are a lot of things happening here in the state of Florida as well. So the first story that we want to bring to you was something that happened earlier this afternoon, actually. Here in Florida, there was a South Florida mall, namely the Aventura Mall. There was a shooting there where 2 individuals were injured as a result of the incident. Now, quick update with what was going on there. It took place around the Nordstrom area of the Aventura Mall. The store was evacuated. The police acted quickly. They were able to apprehend those that were responsible. Aventura police tweeted earlier, once things were situated, that the area was secure. There were no other threats to the community and the victims. They announced during a press conference a little bit later that the victims were transported to the Aventura Hospital Trauma ER. One is critical but stable, and the other is stable. So that's good news where that is concerned. We'll find out more about who was responsible for the shooting a little bit later. Now, jumping into the next Florida story for those who like to travel, those who have been itching to get back out to the attractions, Walt Disney World and SeaWorld, the best of both worlds, they'll be reopening per their plans. Their plans have been approved. Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings made the announcement on social media a little bit earlier today, even showing the approval letter that he received from the state. The Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation Secretary Halsey Bashirs went ahead and approved both theme parks' plans to reopen. So congrats to Walt Disney World and SeaWorld. They'll be able to reopen to their fans and tourists. So officially, SeaWorld will reopen on June 10th, and Walt Disney World will reopen on July 11th. So if you've been itching to head back to the attractions, those are your times to head on back. You heard us share the dates with Disney yesterday. So the plot thickens with that. You guys have some great news where that's concerned. Now, lastly, speaking of Orange County and Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings, Orange County is extending its COVID-19 testing and extending its offer for free PPE to residents and small businesses. Now, according to a recent announcement, these guys are going to be doing extended testing on June 1st at Apopka High School and on June 8th at Ventura Elementary. Testing is free. You only have to be 18 years of older and be an Orange County resident. You don't have to have symptoms. You don't have to be showing symptoms in order to do the test, but you do have to register to take the test. You do have to make an appointment. Now, as a resident doing the test, you'll receive a free pack of face mask and hand sanitizer. And for small businesses that want to be able to receive free PPE, all you have to do is register on the Orange County government website. And that's where you also schedule your appointment for the testing as well. So just go to www.ocfl.net. That is www.ocfl.net to find out all you need to know to schedule an appointment for free testing, if that's what you're after, or to schedule the pickup for the free PPE as a small business. Now, the dates for the small business pickup are June 3rd and 4th, and those are happening at Barnett Park and at Downey Park at 9:30 a.m. in both locations on those respective dates. So if that's something you're interested in, that's the important thing for you to know. I'll be right back with your continued news for business, sports, and entertainment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We wanted to move back home to be closer to his family. We decided to go with pods because things were stressful enough.
We weren't sure how long we were going to need storage for, so we needed something that was flexible, and then they can deliver the container to wherever we move to.
We haven't found the perfect house yet, but we're still looking.
All right, guys, welcome back. Thank you guys for continuing to tune in. Now, coming to your business story for the day, you heard us recently talk about Nordstrom and how they had been one of the high-profile companies that had financial challenges during the COVID-19. Now we get a little bit more detail as to what they've been struggling with. As of their first quarter, they've reported their first quarter earnings, or in this case, losses. They're reporting a 40% loss, a 40% drop in revenue in the first quarter due to the closures required for the lockdown due to COVID-19. Now, on the plus side, they do plan to reopen their stores as soon as the end of May in California and New York. So that's good news for them. During the closures, what they did was reduce inventory as a way to recoup some of the finances that they did lose. They lost as much as $521 million during that first quarter. So they're working to pick themselves back up, just like most of us are and most companies are in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic and as the country continues to reopen. Now, jumping over to your sports news, there's a bit of a shocker in the sports news. There is a major cancellation that has never happened in the history. The Boston Marathon has had to cancel its run for the first time in its 124-year history. That is a long legacy. However, safety first, and COVID-19 is no respecter of persons. And of course, as you know, the Boston Marathon is a massive run. It brings 30,000 runners from around the world. So for this year, since it is canceled, those who have submitted their fees will be refunded. And the race is actually going to be done virtually. So what they're going to do is have a virtual event between September 7th and September 14th. So those who did register, they'll be able to partake in the virtual event for that week, September 7th to September 14th. I'm sure those who've been looking forward to that event are a little disappointed, especially given the glimmer of hope they did have with the initial postponement. It usually takes place on Patriots Day, of course. This year, Patriots Day fell on April 20th, and it was initially postponed to September 14th. But now with COVID-19 and everyone trying to stay safe, particularly with that number of people, it's hard to social distance with that many people involved. So September 7th to September 14th is when they're going to do the virtual event. Now, jumping over to your entertainment story, we want to be sure to end today on a positive note. The Star Wars props makers, and they're located in the UK, they're at Pinewood Studios. They have committed to 3D printing face shields for UK's National Health Service. So this is a great move for those who've been chosen to repurpose their original techniques. Of course, those of us who follow Star Wars, we know how ingenious their inventions are in terms of props and how great the technology is. So they've decided to repurpose it in the aid against COVID-19. Now, Pinewood Studios, for their part, is not only helping the crew for Star Wars to do their face shields, which, by the way, the commitment there is 40 face shields every 3 days to provide the National Health Service employees. But Pinewood Studios has also been housing other folks who are working to help the National Health Service, not just the Star Wars props crew. So big shout out to the Pinewood Studios over there for being instrumental in helping their nation fight the COVID-19 pandemic. So that does it here for us at the Evening News Rundown, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, be sure to like us on Facebook. And you can find us there at Florida National News, at FNN News TV, or at FNN News Live. And be sure to subscribe on YouTube. You find us there at Florida National News, and click the little bell icon to make sure you don't miss a single video for any of our programming, because the programming does continue. Today is always jam-packed because it's Friday. So you saw the lovely Jennifer Rosario de Casiano for Entertainment Buzz earlier today. I'm here now, and I'll be back tomorrow afternoon with the Evening News Rundown. And as of 8 p.m. tonight, be sure to tune in with Casey when she brings you the FNN Sports Take. Thank you guys again for your patience. Tonight was a special one because the news day was a special one for us. There was a lot going on, but thank you for tuning in. We always appreciate you. Have a great rest of your night.